Hey, what's up everybody? Zaia from 48 Detailing, and today I'm sitting in a 2022 Tesla Model 3. Now, this vehicle is in our shop for a full host of services from clear bra correction to ceramic coatings and a few other little things that we're going to go ahead and take care of for our customer. We're going to go over the full process from start to finish, starting off with things that you should look out for on your vehicle when purchasing it, and also things that you should look out for when trying to get your vehicle protected. Now, just like purchasing a car, not every car is the same from each manufacturer. And the same thing goes when it comes to looking for clear bra, ceramic coating, and detailing services as well. So it's super important to make sure you do the research and ask the right questions prior to spending thousands of dollars in getting your vehicle protected. At the end of the day, you want to make sure you're satisfied and your vehicle is taken care of for the long haul and not just the short term. So let's go ahead and jump straight into it, and let's go over all the little intricate details of clear brahing, correcting, and ceramic coating this Tesla Model 3.
Step 1, so simple but yet so complex, the initial inspection and decontamination. Now, even though we're dealing with a brand new vehicle here, it does have about 200 miles on the clock. We are in peak monsoon season, so of course the vehicle is filthy. But sadly, not only that, we do have some permanent damage on the vehicle from pitting and chips during those few hundred miles that have been driven, and that's why we stress so heavily to make sure to bring your car in and get it protected prior to starting to drive it. Now, we do understand there's limitations to that, but a lot of our customers actually schedule their appointments now prior to even receiving their vehicle based off of the ETA the manufacturer and dealership provides. So that's super important. We very much recommend to do that. Now, as you can see, all that dirt and grime is not just going to be on the outside of the vehicle, it's also going to be on the inside of the door jambs, nooks and crannies, the frunk, the trunk. All this needs to be thoroughly cleaned out to make sure none of that contamination gets embedded either in the clear bra application or gets in the way of the paint correction and priming stage and the ceramic coating application. Now, I know all that dirt and grime in the door jambs are killing you, but the first thing we have to do is make sure to clean off your wheels, tires, and wheel arches. Now, we want to make sure to give these things a very thorough cleaning because number one, who likes dirty shoes, right? And number two is that our ceramic coating packages coat your wheel faces as standard, which is a really awesome benefit. Most other companies actually are going to charge you extra to get wheel face coating and then even more for your wheel barrels as well. So at least with our packages, your wheel faces will be coated so you have a much easier time cleaning them in the future, and also they stay cleaner longer and get protected from UV rays and also prevent that brake dust from getting embedded on the wheel faces. Now, the cleaning process is pretty simple, guys. You spray on your dedicated cleaner, let it dwell for a few moments, and then use your dedicated brushes to go ahead and clean off each one of the surfaces. Now, of course, you want to make sure to rinse off these brushes after you move from surface to surface, from wheel to wheel, so you are not spreading all that dirt and grime around from each tire, each rim, and each wheel arch. After you're done cleaning, you want to make sure to go ahead and thoroughly rinse off all that cleaner and all that brake dust and dirt and grime, so you have a nice, thoroughly clean rim, tire, and wheel arch for you to move on to the next step. And my next step is making sure to remove the license plate and the license plate frame. Guys, this is super important. You cannot imagine the amount of dirt and grime that's underneath the... look at all that. It's like a sandbox in there. That's why it's super important to get that removed. And if you don't, when you move on to the polishing process or the ceramic coating process, the vibrations of your polisher or you just applying coating is going to loosen up that dirt. It's going to get everywhere inside your applicator pad or your polishing pads. It's just a mess. So make sure to remove the license plate. We then go ahead and open up all the doors of the vehicle so we can perform the initial rinse and push out as much of that dirt and contamination from those intricate areas. After the intricate areas have been taken care of, we then go ahead and perform that initial rinse on the rest of the vehicle as well. Now, this is key to make sure to push off as much contamination as possible, because at the end of the day, guys, contamination on a microscopic level is basically little pieces of rock and pebbles and things like that. And if it gets in the way of the wash process, you're just going to mar up the surface even more so. Another great example of this is making sure to use a dedicated bug remover on the front end of the vehicle or wherever the majority of the bug guts are to go ahead and soften them up. Not only does it make it easier to clean off those bug guts, to minimize the amount of rubbing and dubbing, if you want to call it, or scrubbing on that surface, but it's going to soften the bug guts and whatever contamination are in those bug guts as well, so you're not marring up the surface more than you have to. Because Tesla black paints, any type of black paints at the end of the day, are very sensitive and difficult to restore in a way, and you'll see more about the restoration process later in this video. So making sure during the cleaning process to minimize the amount of marring on the surface is going to be very beneficial. We're then going to go ahead and foam down the vehicle. This is going to be our initial foaming stage. We're going to leave this foam to dwell on the surface. So it does two things. Number one, it's going to go ahead and soften up more of that contamination that's still on the surface after our initial rinse. Number two, it allows us to do this. Brush out all the little intricate areas around the headlights where panel gaps meet, cameras, sensors, mirrors, the jambs of the vehicle. All that needs to get brushed out in order to remove as much contamination as possible. And after that, guess what? We're gonna rinse off the vehicle again. And then after that, guess what? We're gonna foam it down again. It's repetitive, I know, but that's what decontamination is. And a lot of people underestimate how important this step is or how long it takes to clean off a vehicle. For example, this Tesla took me about 2 hours to go ahead and completely decontaminate. That's the washing, the clay bar treatment, the iron fallout remover, all that stuff. And 2 hours of time spent just cleaning a vehicle, I understand sounds excessive, and that's not even excessive in the world of detailing. So with this in mind, when you are shopping around for your paint protection film or ceramic coating services, make sure to go through the due diligence and ask about the most simple process, because the smallest tasks will result in the largest positive or negative outcome for your vehicle. So that's why it's so important for you to make sure that you are spending the time not only educating yourself on the process and procedure, but also doing the due diligence in making sure that the company you're going to is educated as well. Because it would behoove you to spend any amount of money on a service and not get it done correctly, and it would behoove that company to do the same. So after your vehicle is washed, we go ahead and perform the clay bar treatment. Now, what is the clay bar treatment? Essentially, it's exfoliation of the paint. Your paint, just like your skin, has pores, and those pores can collect things such as dirt, grime, overspray from body shops, overspray from construction. This is all contamination. And that clay bar treatment grabs onto that contamination and then pulls it out of the pores of the paint, and then we mop that up with a microfiber towel. Now, contamination can be anything though. It could be even old waxes, old sealants, even old ceramic coatings we consider contamination. Basically, contamination is anything that gets in the way of the installation of fresh coating and then also paint protection film, right? So all that needs to be removed as well. So what we use when we spray on the surface in order to lubricate our clay mat or a clay towel is what we like to call prep wash. Now, prep wash is a light solvent and IPA mixture to go ahead and strip off any old waxes, sealants, coatings, things of that nature, to go ahead and make sure we have what we like to call virgin paint. Now, virgin paint is essentially paint that has absolutely nothing on it, no contamination. Again, contamination can be dirt, grime, overspray, but it can also be old waxes and sealants. We want to make sure all that's stripped off. This does two things. Number one, it allows us to get a true condition of the painted surface. So when we perform another inspection on the paint, when we're trying to find defects, there are no waxes or oils or fillers hiding defects from us. So we get a true condition of the paint. But number two, it's very important for us here at 48 Detailing to go through this process as well, because we use nano surface primers, and essentially what those are polishes that actually prime that surface for coating application. So we're actually adding additional layers of ceramic to the surface as we're polishing the vehicle. Now, I don't want to get too much in depth when it comes to nano surface primers just yet. You're going to learn more about it later in the video when we get to the paint correction and restoration process. So let's just focus on this portion of the video right here, where I am blowing out all the crevices of the Tesla. Now, this does two things. It removes any leftover moisture that is in the crevices, but also pushes out any leftover contamination as well. And you'd be surprised, after spending 2+ hours washing the car and going through what we just did with the brushes and cleaning up all the nooks and crannies, you still get contamination that gets blown out with compressed air. So this portion is super crucial. Number one, to make sure that water is completely out of there so it doesn't get in the way of the restoration process and anything else that we're going to be doing, but also removes any leftover contamination so we know 100% that this car is perfectly clean. And there's a great example of why compressed air, pressurized air, is so good after you're done washing the vehicle in this next upcoming clip. See, if you just went ahead and washed the vehicle and then hand dried it, you would have never really seen this type of contamination that's stuck underneath the Tesla over here that could have gotten stuck in the paint protection film. So this is why we go ahead and make sure to blow out vehicles prior to moving on to the next step. Alright guys, so we're picking this up the following day and moving on to the paint inspection and correction process. And please excuse my voice, I got a cold. I'm recording this a bit later since we've been so packed at the shop keeping up with work, but bear with me here. Let's get a move on. So as you can see, this brand new Tesla with less than 200 miles on the clock isn't so new. And we stress this so heavily, and it's not just Teslas, it's every car manufacturer out there. And at the end of the day, guys, it really just depends on how far you want to take your vehicle. If you're looking just for a shiny car that's protected, easy to maintain, you don't need to go through a massive correction process. And you know, sometimes we recommend that for customers, especially if they don't have time to go ahead and hand wash their vehicle and properly maintain it. There is no point for us to dial in paint to close to perfection and spend all that time and the customer spending in all that money, and then they take it to automatic car wash and all that hard work and all that money just goes to waste. So one of the first questions we ask our customers is, how do you maintain your vehicle? Do you enjoy hand washing it? Do you have time to hand wash it? Or are you just the type of person that takes it through the automatic car wash, likes a clean and shiny car and calls it a day? And there is nothing wrong with that. And I stress this so heavily. Taking your car through an automatic car wash is obviously not the best route to take if you're trying to keep your car looking new for the long haul. But what I tell people is this: keeping your car looking new is like working out and staying healthy. You have to eat right and you have to go to the gym or do some type of physical activity to keep up with your health. There is no shortcut around it, or at least no permanent shortcut around it. Same thing goes with your car. If you want your car looking new, sometimes there is money that needs to be spent in order to restore that vehicle, even on brand new vehicles. And then there is time, there is money that is involved in making sure that the car stays looking new for the long haul. And we very much stress this to every customer that walks through our door, so we don't always push correction services. Now, this customer was not looking for perfection, but she did notice a lot of the hazing and sanding marks and buffer trails and swirl marks on her Tesla as soon as she picked it up. So she wanted most of it removed. She told me, I don't want it perfect, but I want it to look better. So my recommendation for her was a one-step paint correction, which typically removes about 50 to 60% of defects on the surface. So 50 to 60% of the light to medium swirl marks, scratches, and marring are going to be addressed with a one-step paint correction, and then you're pretty much all set to go to apply your paint protection film and or your ceramic coating application. Now, what you see me performing here again is our one step, and we're using our primer polishes. Now, if you want to learn more about primer polishes, make sure to check out our video. Link is in the description and in the video in the top right to go ahead and learn more about why this technology is so cool and why it benefits your vehicle. But essentially what these primer polishes are, rather than
abrasives and oils and waxes that are organic and do not bond properly with the ceramic coating application. These primer polishes are purely ceramic, so they have a proper bond with the ceramic coating application. So this does a few things. Number one, we get to restore your paint. Number two, it adds anchor points to the painted surface. That's why I refer to it as a primer. Just like painting your car, you need to lay down a primer so that base coat can properly bond to that surface. And then not only that, it's going to thicken the coating and also elongate the durability of the coating as well, because those anchor points add thickness to the coating. Typically, after our primer polish, we see about 1, 2, sometimes even 3 microns worth of thickness added to our ceramic coating applications, which is super crucial, especially when paint systems have become so thin over the years. You want to make sure you add as much thickness to the surface as possible to increase the longevity, durability, and protection of your coating application. Now we continue this correction stage around the whole vehicle, working it section by section and using our inspection lights to make sure that we're removing the proper amount of defects. Now typically we start off the correction process with a test panel, which is the first clip that you saw of me polishing the vehicle. Now the test panel is just that. We test out our pad and primer combination to make sure with the amount of pass-throughs and the pressure and speed that we're using while polishing the vehicle is removing the proper amount of defects that our customer is paying for at the end of the day. Now, this is not an exact science necessarily. Every paint system is different. Sometimes paints are harder, sometimes paints are softer. Softer paints are going to be far easier to correct, but also far easier to scratch, while harder paints are going to be far more difficult to correct, but far more difficult to scratch. So please keep this in mind. Generally speaking, softer paints are black paints, like you see here from Tesla, and also JDM vehicles such as Toyota, Honda, and things of that nature. While harder paints we find more so on BMWs, Audis, German vehicles, but it's a mixed bag sometimes. Every vehicle is different. Every vehicle sometimes have different curing processes during the manufacturing process, and sometimes, guys, we see some paint systems that come off the truck or the dealership, and we really have a deep conversation with our customer. One time we had a Tesla come in that had missing painted areas around the lower bumper and also a lot of the door jambs, and we addressed this with our customer prior to proceeding with any of the work that was going to be done. Now, it's not always that extreme, but when we do find those types of issues during the inspection process, we always make sure to talk to our customer about it, to make sure to see what they want to do and proceed with prior to going through all the work, time, and labor that we're doing for their vehicle. Now for the paint protection film application, you could see Mark laying down a bulk piece on the hood. Now this is super crucial for you to make sure when you're shopping around for quotes and you're shopping around other companies for your film application to ask these main questions. Number one, what type of film do you use and what is the warranty that comes with the film? Because companies like Expel, other companies on the market do provide different types of films with different types of features and different types of warranty. Expel film is not all standard with a ceramic self-healing top coat. Legend film is not all standard with a 12-year warranty. So you need to verify, hey, what exact material are you using on my vehicle? Because not all of them are the same. Now, we specifically use Steck Dyno Shield, which is standard with a 10-year warranty and ceramic self-healing top coat. They do not offer anything without those features. So that all comes standard with our film applications. The next question you need to ask is, how is my film installed? Do you custom bulk applications like the hood? Do you custom extend edges on the vehicle? Now, what do I mean by that? You have your pre-cut patterns, and then you have your custom cut patterns, and then you have your bulk film installations. There are 3 different types of categories. Your pre-cut patterns are typically what you see coming out of the dealership, where they just print them off the plotter, which is the machine that cuts and prints out the film for us, and then they apply it like a sticker to the vehicle. Now, your vehicle does have protection, but it will also have exposed seam lines and edges. Now, your custom cut patterns are where our employees and technicians like Mark take the time to extend edges where they need to be extended, to wrap them under your fenders, your hood, and all that stuff, so you don't have any exposed seam lines on the vehicle. And then you have your custom cut bulk applications, which is what you're seeing here on the hood of this Tesla. Now, the combination of the custom cut patterns and the custom cut bulk installations are going to go ahead and give you the best and safest installation for your vehicle. If we were to custom cut bulk every single panel on the vehicle, that means we have to take a knife to every single panel on the vehicle, and the risk involved with that increases. Now, we're all skilled technicians here. Mark has been doing this for a while, but we're all human and mistakes do happen. So we minimize risk where it needs to be by providing other installations like your fenders, headlights, A-pillars, and things of that nature with custom cut patterns. So we still have that custom cut bulk look, but with the safety of a pattern installation. So that is the second question you need to ask the companies that you're calling when you're receiving a quote, because going through that process adds much more installation time, and the difficulty of the installation time increases. Because paint protection film is water applied, all those edges need to dry out and cure in order for us to wrap those edges, and sometimes it does take a few hours in order to get to that point. So these custom cut bulk installations and custom cut patterns do add a lot more time and more material and require a higher skill level for the installation to get the results that you're going to see at the end of the video after the film installation. Now, in these next few clips, you're seeing Mark cut away the excess film after the hood installation. This is what I was talking about. This takes time, this takes skill, and this takes a lot of patience to make sure that we do this safely for your vehicle and also keep the proper amount of film on the edges so we can go ahead and properly wrap them to prevent any type of lifting or any type of fingering underneath the hood. After that excess film has been cut away, we're going to go ahead and wait for that film to properly dry so we can tack it down underneath your hood and have a nice seamless finish for your hood installation. Here's an example of the custom cut patterns that we went ahead and talked about a few moments before. You can see that Mark is installing a pattern, making sure to line it up properly on the fender of the Tesla, but you can also see that these patterns have excess material on the edges that we are able to wrap. Now, this gives you the same effect that we have from the hood installation, except we do not need to make any excessive cuts on the fenders and things of that nature, so we can safely wrap these edges and minimize the risk of the installation. Another great example of a custom cut bulk piece is going to be your side mirrors. Now, we like to custom cut these because at the end of the day, side mirrors that are pre-cut patterns on the system typically suck. They don't really offer the coverage that we're looking for, the coverage that our customer is looking for. So we go ahead and apply a bulk piece of film and then go ahead and score around the film to remove the excess. Now, what is scoring? Scoring is essentially puncturing the top layer of the 8mm film so we can go ahead and rip that excess off and make sure we have a nice finish to the film application. Now, this process does take time. It does take patience, and it does take skill. I do not recommend doing this on your vehicle unless you really feel confident doing it. You really require some practice. Now, if you are a PPF installer just starting out, you want to make sure that you practice on your own vehicles or maybe a junk vehicle before doing something like this, because the last thing you want is puncturing that film and then scratching or cutting into the paint, which is not a good thing at the end of the day, of course. So make sure to take your time with this process. Essentially what you're doing is, again, just puncturing that top layer of the film so you can go ahead and score it and then remove the excess by peeling that excess off gently and safely. After all the film has been installed on the vehicle, we go ahead and proceed with heat locking all the edges and wrapped edges of the film. This essentially heats up the adhesive, making sure that it properly bonds to the substrate that it's been applied to avoid any type of lifting or fingering in the future. Again, this is done on all the surfaces that has been applied to the vehicle for paint protection film to prevent any issues in the future. Paint protection film has been installed, we go ahead and proceed with the ceramic coating process, which is what you're seeing right now. Now, with our packages here at 48 Detailing, we offer complete coverage on the exterior vehicle. That's right, your glass, your plastics, your wheel faces, and your painted surfaces are all going to get coated on the vehicle. We do this because we might as well. We have the vehicle there. It's going to be beneficial for the customer at the end of the day to offer protection on all these surfaces. We have the products and bottles open, so we might as well go ahead and take care of the surfaces for our customers. This does a few things. It's going to add protection on all those surfaces, of course, and add more value to the package as well for you. Typically, most other companies are going to be charging you extra on additional add-ons like coating your wheel faces and coating your glass and then also your plastics. We include this in our ceramic coating packages. Mark is currently installing our dedicated glass coating to the glass on the Tesla. This is going to provide your vehicle about 2 to 3 years of protection for your glass surfaces. Now what you're seeing here is me installing our 5-year ceramic coating application on the painted surfaces of the vehicle. Now this coating is going to go ahead and of course provide amazing gloss and shine because it is a very high solid formula of ceramic that is in the coating. And it's also going to offer that protection, ease of cleaning, anti-dusting ability, and so many more benefits to the vehicle. Of course, these ceramic coatings are applied section by section and then properly leveled with a microfiber towel to ensure that there are no high spots on the surface. After that, we recommend a 24 to 48 hour cure time for the vehicle. During that time, you want to make sure you avoid any heavy rainfall or water from things like washing your vehicle. After that 24 to 48 hour cure time, your coating will go ahead and reach what we like to call its maximum potential. Because that coating is hardened, it's going to achieve its maximum gloss, maximum shine, and maximum features and benefits such as anti-dusting ability, ease of cleaning, and also self-cleaning and protection as well. After your ceramic coating has been installed on your paint, glass, and plastics, we then go ahead and complete the wheel face coating application. This is a dedicated wheel face coating which lasts anywhere between 2 to 3 years with proper maintenance and is going to go ahead and keep those rim faces cleaner longer and make them much easier to clean as well. We prefer to spray on this coating to ensure complete coverage on the rim faces, especially on those more intricate rims that are coming out on the market today, or custom and aftermarket rims as well. And of course, what you guys have all been waiting for, the final results of the Tesla Model 3. Now, after about 3 to 4 days worth of hard work between me and Mark, it's so gratifying and rewarding to see the results that we have on this vehicle, like we do on all the other vehicles that we work on, but more gratifying to us are our customer and their experience throughout the process. And that is why we are the highest rated automotive detailing shop for PPF and ceramic coatings on the west side of Phoenix and top 3 in all of the valley. And that's saying a lot for a small company that's only been around for about 2 to 3 years to compete with the big dogs that have been around for 10, 15, 20 years that have 20, 30, 40 plus employees. Check out the review that one of our other many Tesla customers have left for us after working on their black Tesla as well. And I really hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe and like button. If you have any questions at all, feel free to contact us or throw them in the comment section below. Thank you.